video games are for nerds. But that doesn't mean we can't talk about them. That's why you're listening to The Week in Gaming, the only gaming podcast that breaks down the last 7 days and tears games apart from the inside. Ugh. So forget your worries, open your ears, and join Simon Miller and a co-host for the entertainment chatter you need. Also, screw Dark Souls.
Hello, welcome to The Week in Gaming. My name is Simon Miller, and you're about to listen to a podcast that's all about video games. If you have just stumbled across this for the first time, yes, my name is Simon Miller, and you can support me at patreon.com/Simon316. You can follow me on Twitter at Simon316, and you can visit my YouTube channel at youtube.com/The Miller Report Rules. Someone that does that a lot and is a good friend of mine is Sam. He's on the other line now. Sam, how you doing today?
That was a good segue. You've always got good segues, I've noticed.
Well, you know, I like to start my podcast off like I know what I'm doing, and then as we get into it, everyone can be like, nope, he's not got a clue. How's your week been, man?
Yeah, it's been good. It's been good. Just been playing the usual amount of stuff. I can't talk about one of them, but yeah, no, it's been good.
Well, one thing you can talking about segues, is if you were a body on the internet over the last week or so, you would have seen a bunch of The Crew 2 information dropped, and Sam and I both played it. Which is very nice. It's just a lovely coincidence. We didn't know this until last week. I realised we were at the same event. Before I get into it, Sam, did you play the first one?
No, I don't even remember the first one existing or ever coming out.
Well, I think that kind of sums it up, right? It was very dry. It was.
Yeah, very.
I love the idea. I thought it was very ambitious by Ubisoft, but it lacked an identity other than the fact, we've got this huge world that you can drive around, which is cool. Yeah. But it didn't really have much outside of that. So, I mean, the big thing they've done with The Crew 2, if you haven't seen, is it's now, in inverted commas, cool. So, you know, they're trying to, much like they did with Watch Dogs 2 and what's the other game that's well, that's like Rage, I guess. That's not Ubisoft, but Rage 2 is kind of doing it as well. They want to try and make it a bit more accessible by, I mean, I think they know what they're doing. They're hamming it up. But the whole structure of it is based around social media and followers and unlocking events.
Yeah.
And it can be a bit garish, the tone. However, I think what's beneath that, especially when we're talking about cars and racing, is actually quite good.
But yeah, I mean, it's not too, like, dude about it, you know what I mean? Like, the Watch Dogs 2 was veering on there very, very closely. But, I mean, like, the cutscenes are all very minimal. So it is all about the racing. It's not too, like, garish, like you say.
Yeah, I mean, it may rub a few people up the wrong way, and I can understand that to a certain degree, because, you know, when you do start, you are going to get it going, bro, you need to get followers, man. But again, because it's a racing game, it doesn't really, it doesn't get in the way. It's just there. I think it's just there because everyone said the original Crew game didn't have any personality. What can we do to inject personality into it? And this was the answer. But yeah, the real joy of it is, because there's planes and boats in it now, and we'll get to that in a second. To me, actually, the driving and the street racing and the touring cars and all of that, I actually thought it was really quite decent. I enjoyed it a lot. To me, it almost filled the what's the word I'm looking for? The void of PGR. And I love PGR, and I miss it. I know that Forza Horizon does that to a certain degree, but even with that, this did feel like, I don't know, I felt like it had its place. And when I was done with it, I did think I want to play this some more.
Yeah, it reminded me a bit of the races in GTA in the sense that it doesn't feel like a racing game. So if you're someone who likes racing games but doesn't like, you know, the classic racing games with the super seriousness of it all, you just sort of want to drive the car and do some arcadey racing. It's really good for that, and you can actually turn the assists off, I think, and then just have it all really simulation based, which I didn't want. But it's good that option's there as well.
Yeah, I think so as well, because I mean, maybe it's the fact that this is the second version of The Crew, and Ivory Tower, who's the publisher, I don't know, maybe it's, you know, more time has equaled, you know, a better end product, which I think makes all the sense in the world. But yeah, I mean, when it comes to that, you tell me first, when you did all the plane and the boat stuff, which is brand new to the game, and it's interesting, and I did think help with pacing and diversity and all that, what did you think, and what was kind of your feeling on those modes?
Well, in my mind, I was like, I should probably do some boat stuff.
Yeah.
So that sort of gives away my view. It just, I think it's very hard to make boat racing interesting because there's it's all plain expanse of water, and I'm sure there is a market for it, but I didn't find it interesting at all. Whereas the stunt racing, I think, was amazing, as in like the aerial acrobatics and stuff. I thought that was really good.
I because basically what happens is as you play, the map will unlock more and more disciplines and races and events you can do. And I did find myself gravitating more towards, every time there was a new racing one, I wanted to do that. I totally agree with you about the boats. There is, I can't remember what they're called now, but there is like these jet ski type boats where you kind of fly around canals, which is a bit better. But again, they lack that, I can't, they lack the immediacy and the fun of driving a car. And I did enjoy the plane stuff as well. I did think there was something there. And I thought, given that, like you say, it is all stunt racing, and obviously when you're doing stunt racing against other people, it's almost like a weird way to do it. So, one of your objectives could be, fly directly up in the air, do a barrel roll, fly close to the ground. And basically, it's whoever gets it done first and does it best wins. And that is nice in the sense that it's a race, but it's not a race in the traditional sense. And I actually thought that offers players something completely different. I can't even think of anything else that does something like that.
No, it's nice because just being first to the finish line, it's sort of been done. So I feel like the crew sort of wanted to do something a little bit like, because plane races would probably be a bit dry as well. But when you add a bit of stunts to it, it just sort of makes sense. Quite straightforward, a little bit more pizzazz, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, I think, it's just because it feels so different. Whereas when you're in a boat, it does feel like meh. We're just driving it's like driving a car, but on an expansive track where you can't crash.
Yeah, exactly.
And you're right, boat racing is just not fun. I mean, that's why Wave Race kind of went with the jet skis, because jet skis are just I don't know, but driving a big speedboat is, it's not great. But what I liked about the racing, I do think the racing is the main event of the whole thing. And there are so many different disciplines you can do. I mean, how many did you touch upon when you play it? Because I did street racing, touring cars, the one where you're driving over fields and stuff, and I did drifting. And I thought all of them really did offer something different. And I kind of wanted to, I mean, the, I can't remember the hell they called it, the marathon one, whatever the hell it was, when you had to drive these, I can't think what it's called, but that one was probably my least favourite. But I actually thought all the rest had something in them, especially touring cars, which made me want to come back.
Yeah, I think it had a lot. The thing is, you unlock the gradual stages, so it's not like you're just ploughing through street race after street race after street race. You can if you want, but the introduction of like drift and stuff like that, and like you said, jet skis, it just makes it it's tweaking the disciplines that little bit just to make it so that you don't have to just be doing the same thing all the time, just variants on the same thing. And I thought the drifting was really fun. Like it takes the arcade level, puts it to like 11 when you like going around corners and everything, your back wheels are like your back is just sliding out and you're drifting around corners. It's really cool. I think I can't remember the other ones, but the open world is in itself is fun as well. Like you could discover all these upgrades and stuff, and there's just a lot to keep you going as you progress.
Yeah, I like that, because when you're just driving around, like you find speed traps where you have to try and break the speed barrier, and you can take photos. There's another one where this line chases you and you've got to try and escape the line. That one is weird. But, it does feel like that. So you can just jump around the map as much as you want to from event to an event. But you can also specifically find these things as you're driving around and do them. And it's really, really well balanced. And you can change all your vehicles on the fly. You just push a button. So if you're driving along and you want to take to the skies, you can. And for a driving game, I thought that was really... It always felt like Far Cry. I mean, I'm going a bit nuts. But, that kind of... variety in an open world when it's just a racing game, I thought was really good.
Yeah, it was fun. It was a little bit fiddly. I found myself sort of fumbling my hands when I was going at high speeds and needing to switch to a plane real quick. But I mean, it's good to be able to change on the fly like that.
Yeah, I like the idea of it. I think that they haven't been overly tempted by what anybody else is doing. It still feels like the crew, but it feels like the crew without. The first one's just a bit boring. I mean, that's the truth of it. It's just a little bit boring. So, but overall, I really did like it. I can see myself getting lost in the driving stuff, especially, and maybe doing the plane and boat stuff every here and there. And what I also enjoyed, it does unlock very, very quickly. I never found myself, felt like I was trapped or anything like that. There is a progression system in there. You need to earn coins, you need to earn followers, you need to upgrade your vehicles, and, you can stumble across races that are above your grade. So you need to try and level up to make sure you get into them. But I just thought overall, just a really fun, interesting racing game that kind of sits within its own bubble, far better than the first. Yeah, I just liked it. That's all I could say. I just came away going, you know what, I'd play more of that. I think it's very well put together.
Yeah, I got really hooked in by the vehicle parts as well. Like you unlock something, it's like the parts of the armor in Destiny. You find something with a vehicle rating of 93, and then you find something with 94, and it's like I've got to swap that out immediately.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Get hooked along with these little bits of progression, unlocking new disciplines, unlocking new areas, unlocking all these kinds of things, and it constantly sort of keeps you going without sort of realizing that you had to grind for anything.
Yeah, that's it. It's just fun. It's just fun, and that a lot can be said for that. To be completely honest, and it did surprise me. I didn't know what to expect, but when I was done with it, I'll absolutely play more of this. And I can imagine if you'd like. I don't think this may sound like to some people that maybe like the first Crew. It hasn't veered too far away from the original game. It's just I can't think of the right word I'm looking for, but it's just made it make more sense. I felt in the first game a lot of the time you're just driving around doing nothing. And it was like, what are we doing? What are we doing? But I think it's a better game. I think it's a better game, and I think not only will fans of the original one like it, but it will appeal to a wider audience too.
For sure.
So that's it. When's it come? It comes out next month, right?
Yes, I believe at the end of June, maybe.
I think it's soon. Hang on, I'm going to look it up now, as I always do on these things. The Crew. I think it's soon. I really, really do. The Crew 2 comes out 29th of June 2018, so literally like just over a month. So keep an eye on it. I go implore you to check out, read some stuff, see if it floats your boat. But I like it. I like it a lot. Sorry?
So to speak.
Well, so to speak. Yeah. Is there anything else you've been playing that you want to talk about before we start talking about the news, Sam?
I mean, I've only just started Alien Isolation. It's one of those games that everyone's like, "Oh, it's so good, and then I just only played a little bit of it, so I haven't even come in contact with the Alien yet. So there's very little to talk about with that. But no, I mean, it looks really good, and it's one of those games that everyone just has only good things to say about.
It is great. It's it's scary.
Yeah,
and that's what I struggled with the most. But it is a very, very. It's so good. I mean, I don't know when it's sold, but it's so good. I'm surprised that Sega haven't pushed to do another one or anything like that, because I can't think of an Alien game that did it better. That kind of gets that fear factor right. They don't overuse the alien. They keep you on your toes. They're very good at suspense. Sometimes the ways you have to get out. I mean, basically, you have to escape the alien. You don't fight it. So. Well, you do to a certain extent, but you'll see. But it's such a well-made game and takes a license that nobody else has been able to do anything with. I am genuinely surprised we haven't seen a sequel, because it came out in like 2015, 14, something like that?
Yeah, it was ages ago now. Not ages, but you know what I mean.
Yeah, I don't. It's strange to me, but I think you'll enjoy it. I mean, I don't think it would have aged. Yeah, it came out 7th of October 2014, so we're coming up to 4 years old. But I can still imagine it will. It will hold up. I don't kind of anything that was sort of bad at the time.
I mean, it looks great, so. Yeah,
I'm honestly surprised. I honestly surprised just from that point of view that they would have done it. But I think you'll enjoy it. It's a very, very, very good video game. And if I can say that as a man that hates video games, I'm sure that if you don't get sucked into that, you'll enjoy it even more.
I hope so.
I'm trying to think of anything that I've been playing. I mean, I've played more Fortnite.
Is that episode up now? That second one?
Yeah, second one's up. Yeah, so I would implore everyone, if you just go to VG247's YouTube channel, you can check me out just sort of imploding.
Was there a theme to it, this one?
Sorry?
Was there a theme to it?
Well, I had to get all the rubber duckies, which was one of the challenges in this week. I got all those damn rubber duckies. It took me all day, but I got all the damn things. And I think with the challenges, I can understand it a lot more. I do think there is... I can see the hook. I still don't understand how you kill anyone. I don't understand how you ever win a game. And I'm not sure without the challenges it could hook me in as much. But I can also see the appeal. I understand why it's taken over as much as it has. And to tie into that, now that I'm starting to get how the Battle Royale formula works, a load of Call of Duty Black Ops 4 information came out this week. And a big part of that is it's going to have a Battle Royale mode. Basically, it's got Battle Royale mode instead of a single-player mode. And a lot of people have thrown their arms in the air about that. Now, I'm not massively pumped that they've got rid of the single-player. I like single-players. I'm still that guy. However, I actually think a AAA publisher and developer and game taking on the Battle Royale mode is exciting. I'm genuinely intrigued to see what they can do. Yeah,
I mean, they know how to handle their shooting. They've been doing that right for ages. And it's not... I don't know all the ins and outs, to be honest. I didn't watch the reveal, but it's not like standard Battle Royale. They're doing their own take on it, as far as I'm aware. Like one of the Treyarch developers just said, like, trust us. We've not let you down before. you've liked our games in the past. Just trust us. And I think that's fair because it seems to be sort of guilty until proven innocent. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Stuff. And there's no reason it can't work. It all sort of seems to have the places to work very well.
I think as well, like somebody, given that it's a yearly game, I think that's how they can get away with it because they can just put a single player in the next one. Now we're getting into these, Call of Duty's been going so long. I do think it's good they try and differentiate them as much as possible, and that's what they've done here. And I get the Battle Royale concept. I like it. So I imagine a lot of people that don't want to get into PUBG because it's quite intimidating and maybe Fortnite's aesthetic isn't their bag. Call of Duty is absolutely the right game to take it on. And I genuinely, I haven't played Call of Duty in years just because I had my fill and I wanted to move on. I get it. It's a young man's game. But I would absolutely at least give it a go, to see... Yeah, just to see how I feel about it. Because I think if they do it right, they've already got the built-in audience. It could help the whole genre.
Yeah, I mean, I can't see any reason why it wouldn't, to be honest. Like I say, it's got all the pieces in line. And yeah, everyone's just so complaining on the internet, right? It's just exasperating.
But yeah, but what do you think of everything else they're talking about as well? Obviously... so the biggest things that I took away from it were, the way it was described to me is that the multiplayer is going to play more like Overwatch. Now,
it seems to be more hero based. Like the classes are like very different to each other, not just sort of here's a different gun, here's a different whatever.
Well, how do you feel about that? Because I've played a little bit of Overwatch, but I didn't necessarily. To me, it sounds like it's going to be a little bit less run and gun, if you get what I mean, and a bit more strategic. I mean, that's what I took away from it, but I'm not a big Overwatch guy, so I don't want to...
Yeah, I mean, it might be more about team composition and stuff. There was an interview, the Treyarch dude, the same dude was saying, it's not, we know what we do, we are Call of Duty, we're focused on, just the one player in the heat of the battle. It's not going to be a team play game like Overwatch or anything. But having to focus on team composition will be good. And after all, like Lawbreakers was very sort of similar in that sort of concept, modernish and hero shooter. And it was good, even though I didn't sell it. It was good quality. So maybe it's just something that they could apply their expertise to and then get their own sort of spin on the hero shooter as well. So I'm really interested in it, to be honest. I don't think it's a bad thing.
No, I don't either. I actually think it's probably, if anything, reignited my interest in it. I mean, you mentioned Lawbreakers there. I will say, just off the cuff, that Cliffy B actually had to close down his studio this week as well. I can never remember what they're called. Blue Point? No, not Blue Point. Bosky. Blue Point is the PUBG guys. He closed it down. I actually thought it was quite sad. I still like Cliffy B games. I thought Lawbreakers was really good. It just didn't find an audience. And obviously, Radical Heights, which was their last-ditch attempt to get into the Battle Royale, it was just too late. I mean, that was kind of the case with Lawbreakers as well. They kind of missed that peak with hero shooters to the point where, it wasn't. It was kind of on the downward swing.
Yeah, it's a shame. Lawbreakers is actually really good.
I love Lawbreakers. I thought it was an awesome game. But I genuinely, everything they've announced about Black Ops 4 has made me. I mean, not necessarily zombies. I've never really been into zombies, which now is going to be on the Titanic for some. Or at least one of the maps is going to be on the Titanic. So explain. The best thing about that was everyone was like, "Oh, so offensive." What are you talking about? We're reenacting World War II. Like, you're already being offensive technically if you want to look at it from that point of view.
Wow, that's ridiculous. But the zombies is actually looking really good, I think. That's one of the things that drew me in. But the things with zombies is never a selling point for a Call of Duty game. Like, I wouldn't buy it for zombies.
Yeah.
But it all looks good for now. It all looks like tentatively good because, like I said, like you, I've not played Call of Duty for ages, like religiously. So it's going to take a lot to actually get me to buy it. But for now, it looks all right.
Yeah, no, I think so. And I think taking settings like the Titanic just makes sense. Like, it's just kind of cool, which is a weird thing to say, but it just is. I'm not. Again, if you're going to get offended by that, you've got to get offended by the fact they've picked World War II straight away. So, but no, I genuinely. I mean, they seem to have. It's been suggested anyway. They're doing away with the season pass too. So you're going to get brand new maps for free in the multiplayer mode. However, you will. What do you call it? You'll get. Zombies will have its own DLC model, I guess, for lack of a better term. But that's only a rumor for now. But that's interesting as well because, Activision have always pitched it like it's 3 separate games. And this year, especially, it feels like they're really ramming that home even more. Like, multiplayer is not going to feel like Battle Royale, which is not going to feel like Zombies, to the point that if you just want to play one of them, you actually can.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of people were up in arms about the lack of solo campaign. But all 3 of those are substantial enough. And you really have to question how many people actually play the solo campaign, I'm surprised the developers don't whack out a scroll with the evidence being like, literally only 5% of you played this. Why is everyone seemingly up in arms about it? I think it's a price thing as well. People think they're getting charged the same amount of money for less content. And I don't think it's less content at all.
No, I don't think. I don't think that will feel like the. The point is, the fact is, we've still got 3 modes, and again, with a game like Black Ops, I know people like the story and stuff, but I don't necessarily. No, I don't see it that way at all. I think because of the business model they have and the way they release games, I actually think this is probably the best way to do it. And like I've said, I'm genuinely now intrigued to play this year's Call of Duty, to see what they've done. Will I play Zombies? Probably not. Will I play multiplayer? Probably not. But if I get it for Battle Royale, I will dip my toe into the other ones, and maybe they'll win me over too. And I wouldn't have been saying that if they didn't take this approach.
Yeah, I'm really interested in it. What's the historical setting? What period of history is Black Ops 4 in?
Probably modern future. I don't know. When the last one was like in the future sometime. I don't know. They all blur into one. I mean, it's not World War II, so I guess either it'd be modern day or I think it's the future. I think it's set in the future.
It's probably the future because I think Black Ops 3 was the future.
I think it was. Yeah, I think it was like the near future. I'm going to tell you right now. It was set 2065 Black Ops 3. So yeah, I'm assuming Black Ops 4 would be around that time, if not sooner. And of course, the other thing that came out is that apparently next year, it will be World of War. Sorry, what do you call it? What the hell's that game called? Modern Warfare 4. Which, I mean, my problem with Modern Warfare games is that I'd never really be able to. They always felt the same as Black Ops games to me. They're like, what's the difference? However, if that comes with a single player and other things, then maybe you can then start to separate them. I mean, I'm not the biggest fan of the Modern Warfare games. I think after Modern Warfare 2, it was just downhill, to be honest. And then that's when Black Ops kind of picked up the mantle and ran with it. But I'm intrigued to see. I guess that makes sense, right? We had World War 2, now we're having Black Ops 4. And then we get Modern Warfare 4 next year. The franchises people know, none of this Infinite Warfare stuff, which seemed to upset people to begin with.
Yeah, I didn't play Modern Warfare 3, so it's very hard to form an opinion. But Modern Warfare 1 and 2 were really good. They're very of their time. Like Modern Warfare 1 and 2 don't work now. So I'd be interested to see what they do, because I think the whole Modern Warfare thing ran its course with Battlefield 4. And now it's just sort of like what they're going to do with it. It's been done. All of it has been done.
Yeah, that's my big thing. Is what happens with it. And it's very easy to get fatigued on Call of Duty for that very reason. So we'll see. But we'll see. Look, I think they're in a good place at the moment. I think it's intriguing. I think there's a lot of interesting information out there. I think it's only going to get hopefully better as we. He's launching in October this year, which is interesting.
It's usually November.
Yeah.
Right?
So I mean, what are they running away from? What am I not thinking about?
When's Red Dead Redemption 2?
I thought it was October, wasn't it? Okay. Red Dead Redemption 2 comes out October 26th. Yeah, so it's even closer. I don't know what they're. I don't know. But either way, I'm sure it will do well. I've got a feeling they'll be just fine. Is my gut. Is my gut. So yeah. So Black Ops 4. Let me know what you think about it. Tweet me or get in touch. I think it's the most interesting Call of Duty in a while. No single player does suck, but I think they've made up for it in other modes. So I'm all right with it. Ubisoft had loads of news as well, I guess, to tie into the Crew 2 previews that came out. The first is that The Division 2 is going to be releasing before March 31st, 2019. Now, to me, I don't care. I really hate The Division. I think it's one of those boring games I've ever played in my entire life.
Secret numbers game.
Sorry?
Secret numbers game.
It is a secret numbers game, right? You've got this, just numbers 24s rolling out of people's heads. Did you play The Division?
No, I looked at it and I was like, no.
Yeah, I was the same. It was so dull. And I get it's better with friends, and I played it with friends for a little while. But I mean, I'm not sure what they could potentially even do with the Division 2 to make me interested, but I don't know. I mean, is it even considered? I know it sold well. I know it did well. And to be honest, I still can't believe that Ghost Recon Wildlands did well as well. I mean, Ubisoft do make these games that people do fall in love with. But I've got no interest in the second one whatsoever. I just don't.
Yeah, it feels like Wildlands had more of a tailored story, whereas I didn't play The Division, but it felt a bit Destiny-ish in the sense that you were just sort of doing the same loop for loot sort of thing. I don't know whether that's the case, but it feels like you're sort of playing through a story in Wildlands, which is probably, for me at least, why I wanted to play it more than The Division. But The Division 2, I don't know anything about. But nobody knows anything about, right?
No, nothing. I mean, literally, other than the fact that now it's coming out before sort of the end of the end of the financial year. No, nothing. So I'll be intrigued to see what they. I mean, maybe they can win me. I don't want to. They may come up with this great new idea. I mean, clearly they're not afraid to change things when it comes to a sequel. So maybe they will come up with an idea. But yeah, I wasn't a big fan of the first Division. I don't want to. I'm not even going to pretend otherwise. But we'll see. We'll see what happens. But I don't really care. They also delayed Skull and Bones into next year, we think. Yeah, but no one actually knows. But again, do we even know anything about that game other than the fact it's a pirate game? I don't.
Yeah, I mean, E3 came along and then revealed it, and it was like, okay. And then literally when it was delayed, I was like, oh yeah, that's a game.
Yeah, that's what I don't get. I mean, what? Why did you even announce it? There was no need to announce it.
Yeah, nobody was like, oh, Skull and Bones, just like tapping their feet waiting for Skull and Bones. Yeah, it's very bizarre. But I mean, what else?
I don't get it. I mean, I don't get it at all. But I guess my worry is, if somebody thought that pirates were going to be the new zombies, for lack of a better term, you are at risk of missing that boat. Like you could miss it entirely if it's not coming out till next year. But I know that's the best part of Assassin's Creed 4, and everybody loved it, so maybe it'll be fine. I don't know. Yeah. But we'll wait and see. The other thing I wanted to talk about as well was that Resident Evil 7 is kind of coming to the Nintendo Switch, but it's coming via the cloud. Now, I don't even know where to begin with this, because if it works, it could actually be amazing. But I just don't believe it's going to work. I mean, as far as I can tell, it is just... Well, you just stream it, right? From the cloud onto your device. At the moment, you can only buy it from the Japanese e-store.
It's a 45 megabyte download. And then the rest of it is... Yeah.
Well, it's stored in the cloud, and you just stream it. I love the idea, and I love the fact they're giving it a go. But in my mind, this is just not going to work. I mean, it could do, and I could be wrong. But I don't know. I was very surprised by it.
Yeah, I mean, it's weird because the whole point of having the streaming thing is it means you can't take it on the go. You can't play it on the train, whatever. You need to be at home, ideally docked, whatever. And if I'm sitting at home playing Resident Evil on a console, it won't be the Switch. You know what I mean? If I'm tethered to a console, I'm not going to be playing Resident Evil 7 on the Switch. It's not going to be my platform of choice. And it's just a bit bizarre. It would be cool to see if they could make the whole streaming thing work to try and negate the whole, little storage space in the Switch. But again, I'd rather have it on the go for a plane ride, train ride, whatever.
That's the problem, isn't it? I mean, that is the real problem in the sense that you buy games on Nintendo so you can take them wherever you want, but now that has been negated. That doesn't really make any sense whatsoever. But I don't know, maybe if you've only got a Nintendo Switch and you want to play it, but then I can't. That seems like a very niche market to me. The people that own a Nintendo Switch, but I don't know. Look, I like the idea, but I do think it kind of goes against what the Nintendo Switch is all about. But who knows?
Yeah.
We will see. We see. Right. So before I got some questions in as well for this episode of the podcast, because I think all the big games sort of come out towards the end of the week. We've got what's David Cage? Detroit
Become Human.
And what's the other one that's coming out as well? There's something else which is a big deal, which I now can't remember either. Anyway, so I thought we'll have to save that till next week. But is there anything else you want to talk about, Sam, before I jump into this question bag and bush out some questions?
I don't think there's anything news-wise.
No, that's all right. That's all. We'll just do it. We'll just smash into it. Right. So I'm going to start at the bottom because that's what we do. Harrison, favorite Lego game? Oh, that's not a question for me. I'll put that on you. What's your favorite Lego game, Sam?
It's Star Wars, right? It's like the quintessence.
Well, yes and no. I mean, the problem with all Lego games is they're so boring. they're all exactly the same as each other. Like, it's just hold down B and stuff happens and you build stuff. I mean, I think Star Wars is probably the best because it was the first and it captures the aesthetic well, and with the music, it's really fun.
Yeah.
But I still find it a little bit boring. Just a little bit boring.
Lego games thrive on a good cast, and the most varied cast of any Lego game is probably Star Wars, right? I mean, Pirates of the Caribbean, you had dude with sword, another dude with a sword, dude with two swords, and it wasn't great unlocking anything. Where Star Wars, it's just obviously, like we talked about, like fan service. It's just fan service the game, right? Just unlocking all of these different characters and stuff.
Yeah, I like how they use the licenses. It's just I really would prefer if they tried something different with the gameplay. It's like it really, really wears me out. And maybe it's not a problem. They sell really well, and we've got a new Lego game coming out this year. We've got loads of new Lego games coming out this year. So
Incredibles, right?
I think that's the one. Yeah. So. But again, is that to me? Again, does anyone care about the Incredibles that much?
Oh yeah, people love the Incredibles. Yeah, I don't really know why, because it's sort of like it's a good Pixar film, but it seems to have the most like rabid fan base. I'm not sure why.
But do they love it to the point where they want to play the same game again, just with an Incredibles aesthetic?
I mean, probably.
Well, fair enough. I can't argue with that. But I mean, I'll go Star Wars too. But yeah, I've never really got into those games. I don't know why. Well, maybe it's because the first time I tried to buy a Star Wars game, a Lego Star Wars game, was one of the first times I ever used eBay, which proves how old I am. And it never turned up, and I got screwed over. So maybe ever since then I've been
so bitter.
I've been enough. Cassie, who did you side with at the end of Fallout 4? I can't even remember the end of Fallout 4 now. Is that when you have to decide between your dad or the...
Yeah, the Institute, the Railroad, and the Brotherhood.
Yeah, that's it. I can't even remember now. Do you remember what you did?
Yeah, the Railroad, because they were the least assholes out of them all. Because the Institute were just like cartoonishly evil.
It was ridiculous, yeah.
The Brotherhood were just like all racist against synths.
Yeah.
And the Railroad were actually good people, but just a bunch of hipsters underground.
Yeah, so that's pretty much it.
Whatever. I'll just go with these dudes.
That's just pretty much it. I can't even remember who I sided with now. I thought Fallout 4's story really just veered off into Crazy Town towards the end of it. I kind of lost... Yeah, I kind of lost it a little bit.
Yeah.
But I can't remember. I think I did the Railroad as well. I think, but I'm not 100% sure. Andrew Mencias, what is the best video game OST? I think we did this before, but another shout out. Mine's probably Shadow of the Colossus or Zelda or Street Fighter or Mario. One of those four. Either's fine.
I can't even remember what I answered last time we talked about this.
You can change it. Change it.
I still can't think. Oh god, there's so much pressure. I'll come back. I'll think, and then we'll come back to it.
All right. Also, I said this as well, but Valiant Hearts, The Great War. That's an awesome soundtrack. SK, what is the best RPG ever? That is a question. The best RPG ever. I mean, we'll take Zelda out of the equations. We'll say Zelda is not an RPG.
It's a tough question. It depends what angle you're coming in at, you know?
I think I'd say Dragon Age Origins. I think that's my favourite RPG ever in terms of a quintessential RPG. I'm going to go Dragon Age Origins. I'm quite or you can put KOTOR in there as well, but I think just because I preferred the way that Dragon Age Origins combat went, I'm going to go with that. But they're essentially the same game. You either play an RPG in medieval times or you play an RPG in space, depending on what you want.
I'm going to be that guy and do two different answers.
That's all right. You can do it. You're allowed.
The best game that is an RPG for me is Dark Souls.
Yep.
But the best role-playing game in the traditional sense, the best game that does role-playing right for me is Fallout 3.
Yeah, I think that's fair. Yeah, I think any of those Bethesda games, again, you could take Oblivion or Fallout 3 and just depending on what setting you prefer.
Yeah.
I mean, they're incredible games. And the problem with RPG is, it's kind of trying to decipher, because then you could throw JRPGs into the mix as well, but then is that a whole different category in itself? I guess it would have to be, right? Because they don't play the same as normal RPGs.
Yeah, they've got so many different, like, sort of comparing, like, two different styles of games, even though they are RPGs, you know what I mean?
I mean, best JRPG is obviously Dark Chronicle. We all know that. That's the best JRPG.
I mean, I don't play them, so...
No, most of them are really boring. Jason Thompson, what is your favourite game that isn't wildly known? Poof. Oh my gosh. I mean, RC Pro-Am, I always say, but I wouldn't say it's my favourite game. It's just a game I'd like to see come back. A favourite game that is not wildly known? I got nothing. Sam?
I'd go with Ape Escape 2 on the PS2.
I know.
Not a lot of people know that. Everyone shows love to Ratchet and Clank and Jack and Daxter, but Ape Escape 2 was where it's at.
No, I know. I remember Ape Escape 2. I thought it was all right. I played that when I was working at Sony, I think, or at least one of the Ape Escape games. I'll go RC Pro. It's a rubbish answer, but I cannot think of anything else that I'm kind of like a bit of a dude bro when it comes to games. Everyone knows the games I like. It's ridiculous. Tyler Mahoo, when do you think The Last of Us 2 will come out? Not till next year. Sony's end of year. I mean, they just got put out God of War. They got Spider-Man. Again, they've got Detroit at the end of this month. They don't need to release it till next year. I would honestly, I'd probably give it a 2019 release date, end of the year, like November, October, that time. I would wait that long because I don't think it needs to come out before then.
Yeah, it's going to be the same as Days Gone, just ages waiting between the announcement and the release, I think.
Yeah, I mean, we'll know more at this year's E3, but I can see them announcing a date of E3 for next year, just saying 2019 and then it popping up. I can't see it early next year. I can see it late next year.
Yeah.
Danny Mee, did you play any of the Pokemon games, and do you have a favourite if you did? I never really played Pokemon, you know. How about that? It's never really been something that sort of caught my attention. I don't know why, because you think I'd love it, but I never got around to it.
Is it because it's for babies?
Probably, yeah. It is for massive babies, because it's a bunch of colourful things that people go around to try and find, which is ridiculous.
Yeah, I mean, I played the early ones, the classics like Red and then Ruby and stuff. But then it makes sound like an old man, but it's just like that. It all got very confusing because then it all got into different territories and different shades of colours and stuff like that. And then it was just more of the same for me, so I didn't feel the need to play any more of them. And I also don't complete them because when it gets to the point where you need a level 50 Pokemon and yours are level 13 and you've got to grind them, I'm just like, I can't bother to grind all of these Pokemon up to the level I need them to be.
Yeah, I'm the same. It sounds arduous to me. But I literally can't answer it. I've never played a Pokemon game long enough to even give you an answer. Sorry. It's time to Dewey. Is DLC ruining the video game industry? I don't think so. I think by this point, it's kind of proven not even to be that big of a thing, really, has it? I can't think of any. I mean, obviously there are a few instances where, you know, you can point out that it has damaged it, but I don't think it's ruined it by any stretch of the imagination.
No, I don't think it's that invasive a lot of the time. Like Destiny is the point where it's like it gives you extra content if you want it, but if you don't want it, like me and my friend were like, "Are we going to buy that expansion?" No, we're not going to buy an expansion. We don't want it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
If it's sort of locking you off from your friends or like locking story details behind DLC, then it's a problem. But I don't think people do that really. There's a few, but DLC mostly just gives you extra stuff if you want it, but it's no problem if not. So I don't really think it's doing anything bad at all.
No, and loot boxes obviously threaten to screw things up. Yes. But again, they have kind of taken a turn now because of what happened with EA. So yes. I don't see any sort of serious problems at the moment. No, it hasn't ruined games. Is it a controversial addition? Yes, but I don't think it's ruined the game industry. No. Not
like you say, there is a more bite back now. Like when Curse of Osiris was released for Destiny, it got slammed for not having good enough content. Yeah, and I think there's more of you can't just put out whatever you want and be like, okay, cool, buy that.
Yeah, exactly.
More of a responsibility now.
Yeah, I think so. I think again that Star Wars debacle proved that you can't just muck around anymore, which is good. You shouldn't be able to do that.
Yeah.
Where are we? Fresh to Fallen. What are your thoughts on DayZ standalones, past, present, and future? I know nothing about DayZ other than the fact that the guy went on to make PUBG. Right? That's it. That's all I know.
I'm not sure if that's the same dude. You know.
I don't know. I mean, it's based on DayZ, right? It's the DayZ engine PUBG, right?
But now we're talking engines. I ain't got any clue.
I think so. I'm pretty sure there's. I mean, I don't know. I'm gonna look it up. I was pretty sure that it was. I was pretty sure it was a mod of. Yeah, it was a mod. It was a mod of DayZ. Yeah, that's how it started.
Okay.
Whether it's the same guy, I don't know. I thought it was the same guy. I haven't got a clue. I don't know. I don't play. I mean, no, I don't know enough. I'm gonna guess that you don't either, Sam. So we'll just move on from that one. What is your game of the year so far by Subversive Element? Mine's God of War. That's pretty straightforward, actually, for me. God of War, definitely, hands down.
Ni no Kuni 2.
What'd you say, sorry, man?
Ni no Kuni 2.
Did you play the whole thing?
Yes.
Isn't it like 50 hours or something?
Yes.
How do you find the time? How good? I mean, it's just actually, I don't know much about it. It's a standard JRPG, right?
As standard as you can get, really. They're all very unique to one another.
Well, that's true.
It's like Studio Ghibli inspired. It looks really good. It's really good, basically. And 10 out of 10 would play again.
10 out of 10?
Oh yeah, for sure.
Wow, well, there you go. There you go. It's massive. Mr. T, what is your favourite fighting game? Street Fighter 2. I know it's the ridiculous thing to say, but it's true. I love Street Fighter 2. I think it's amazing.
Cool, I'd go with Tekken Tag Tournament, the first one.
Yeah, that's good too. I love that game. It's on the PS2, right? I think it's one of the first games I ever had on my PS2.
It's so good. Get Armor King and King together. Oh, it's so good.
Yeah, that is a good game. I like Tekken because it doesn't feel like any other fighting game. It's one of those ones that doesn't try and copy anybody else. It's just got its own style. No, I like Tekken. Chris, is Guitar Hero dead or could it be properly revived? No, I think they tried that last year or 2 years ago and it died even worse. So no, I think rhythm action in general can be quite of its time, and I think Guitar Hero had its day and it should never have been brought back.
Yeah, I think rhythm action games are doing well if people do them sort of like, indie games, they're doing them differently. But the days of plastic guitar controllers are done. It's not coming back.
No.
Stop. You can come back.
It was of its time. It just was of its time, and now it's we've moved on. I mean, this is a serious one. Stephen Crane, do video games cause people to commit violent acts? I mean, no is my answer. I don't believe they do. I think they can influence someone, but I think that someone already has to have it within them to begin with. That's always been. But that's the same with that's not the same with games. That's books, films, what you see in day-to-day life, talking to a friend. Anything can trigger something off. You just don't know when and how. But no, I don't think it comes down to video games.
Yeah, I think it's an easy scapegoat, but I probably agree with you just because I think it has to sort of be in there. I can't imagine any video games I've ever played to be a switch to turn someone psychotic, you know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly. I don't think they're enough to do that. I don't even know what this means. Bearded brown bloke, who do you main on Smash Bros? I don't play Smash Bros. What does that mean? Who's my main character?
Who do you main on Overwatch? Who's your main character?
I don't play it. I don't understand Smash Brothers. It makes no sense to me whatsoever. It's a bizarre video game.
It's a bizarre video game, but it's got a very loyal following for a very old video game.
Yeah, it's got a huge following as well. People go crazy for that thing. I just don't get it at all. I really, really don't get it. Have you ever played one?
I've played most of them, but only like casually with friends. I'm not learning combos or maining anyone. So yeah, I can't answer that.
No. Michael, I think The Last of Us is a bit shit and broken. Why am I the only one? It's broken.
You're not the only one. You're not the only one. I agree.
Why is it broken?
I mean, broken's probably a bit of a strong word. I think it's horrendously overrated. I probably wouldn't agree with broken because I'm not sure what he's talking about. I wish I knew what he meant by broken. But
maybe it means the Ellie thing. I know some people don't like the fact that she just runs around and you can be seen. But if I'm going to do that with my video games, I might as well just stop playing. I mean, all video games do that. You have to be a suspension of disbelief to a certain degree.
And I'd rather that than having to put like Resident Evil 4 having to put actually in a bin every time you want to do anything because you're going to get kidnapped. But I mean, the sneaking was a bit jank. Maybe that's what he's talking about. But yeah, I mean, I agree it's overrated, but probably not broken.
I like it. It surprised me, which I'm sure helped my reaction to it. But yeah, I really liked it. I thought it was a great video game, and it just ticked all the boxes for me, and it surprised me, and I think it was influential too, as you can see in kind of stuff like God of War. I think it was a big deal. I really liked it. I thought it was wonderful. Mark Andrews, at what point did the original Resident Evil series lose interest? I guess everything after Resident Evil 4, right? Because it was on a loser. When you create something that people consider perfect, it doesn't matter what you do next. Again, I like Resident Evil 5. I think it's a really good video game, but it was never going to be able to live up to 4, and that ultimately ruined it. Because that's always what happens. That's always what happens.
Yeah, I agree because I've never been seeing anything about 6, but I've heard that it's trash on all accounts. 5, I thought 5 was just good. I didn't think it was a horrendous video game. Everyone seemed to think it was terrible. And then I think it just needed total renewal after 6.
Right, 6 apparently is like 42 games in one. All of them are mediocre at best.
Yeah,
I never played it. I was a bit done by then. Greasebert, why is there no Half-Life 3? I don't know, Sam. I mean, I never liked those games. I know I'm a terrible person, but I'm not a Half-Life guy, so I don't really have anything to say about it.
I think Half-Life aged quite badly, the original. So it's.
I think Half-Life 2 aged badly too.
Yeah, I never played because I gave up halfway through half one and then didn't bother with the sequel. But as to why it's not coming along, I think it's too late now. You either release it when the hype is there and it's not become this big old joke, because whatever they do now, they can't release it because it would just be the anticlimax of anticlimaxes. You know what I mean? So it's done. It's too late.
I agree. Yeah. I mean, I never understood the fuss behind that game. I just didn't. It blew my brain, and to this day, today I stand by that. And we finished with Brandon. It says, what video game has had the biggest or most memorable impact on you, either while growing up or more recently?
That's a tough one.
I'm trying to think. I mean, what? I mean, The Last of Us opening did, because I was surprised by it. I didn't think it was going to happen. So I'm not as a whole video game, but as a moment and a section, yes, that. Shadow of the Colossus to a certain degree, but maybe not in an emotional way. I don't know. Do you have an answer for that?
I'd probably say Gears of War 2, because I think that was the first game I ever sort of did online gaming with. And I think that's sort of like that branching off into the modern era. Like, wow, this is so cool. I can play with friends.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's probably the biggest one. I can't really think of anyone's that story that was good enough for me to be like, that has left an impact.
Yeah, no, I don't think I've ever had that. I mean, yeah, if we're talking about that, I mean, PGR 3, as weird as it sounds, because that was just the first game I ever properly played online.
Yeah.
So, you know, that opening that world to me and being like, holy shit, we can, you know, I've never done anything like this, was incredible.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, story-wise, I have to have a think. Maybe we'll come back to that next week. I don't know. Although next week, Sam, how are you going to be able to have played any of Detroit by next week?
I'm not getting Detroit, so probably not.
Okay, well, I will. So we're definitely I can't wait, because it's either going to be the best game of the year or utter shite. I'll
prepare a list of questions now. It'll be like,
yeah, do it. The first one could be, is it a pile of shite? I love David Cage games. You just never know what you're going to get. And admittedly, he doesn't sound like the best dude in the world, but I don't know that for sure. I've never met him. But in terms of his games, you just never know. You just never know.
Yeah.
So we will.
I'm looking forward to seeing what it's about. I'm probably going to get it later on. Yeah. I'm looking forward to it, but not like day one looking forward to it.
No.
So I'm just interested to hear what people are going to say, what people are going to think. And
yeah. I'm mostly getting it just to talk about it. I mean, that's it. I wouldn't be getting it otherwise, but as I feel like there's content to be made out of it, I'm actually gonna jump into it. So yeah, I'll let you know. What happens. And that's pretty much, that's the week in gaming. That's what's been going on. I know that there was some reviews came out for Hyrule Warriors. Everyone seems to like that. One person said not as good as Breath of the Wild. This is the most stupid thing I've ever read in my life. They're not
sort of goes without saying, right?
But they're not comparable Zelda games either. They're completely different genres. They just happen to, they just happen to
happen to share the same cast.
Yeah, so that was nuts. But otherwise, that's pretty much everything that's been going on. I'd be intrigued. Sort of Call of Duty dominated this week, as it always does. And I know that Rage 2 stuff is going to come out this week as well, just before E3. So we'll talk about that next week as well, hopefully, as some people get hands on with it. And that's it. That's game. Sam, is anything you're looking forward to playing over the next few weeks?
No, not without Detroit.
It's just Detroit. And then we're at E3 as well. So we're only 3 weeks away from E3, so you can look forward to that. We'll talk about all the fallings out from that. But in the meantime, yeah, I guess it's just about looking forward to Detroit, which does come out on Friday. 4 days as we're recording this. I cannot wait to see what the reaction is. Again, if you do want to support the podcast, it's just patreon.com/SimonMiller316. Any help would rock. You can find me on Twitter at SimonMiller316. There is no Facebook group. I also do a wrestling podcast on Wednesdays called Simon Miller's Pro Wrestling Podcast, so you can come join that. And loads more content is up on the YouTube channel at youtube.com/The Miller Report Rules. Sam, as always, thank you very much for joining me.
No, this is my pleasure.
And actually, I've just realised we won't be able to do next week. We'll actually launch next Tuesday, because next Monday I'm wrestling.
Oh, wow.
at Defiant Wrestling in Sheffield. If you're in the area, come down. You can see me in some spandex. But yeah, usually at this next week this time I'll be shitting myself in some arena in Sheffield, about to go out and be a wrestler, because that's what.
Good luck with that.
Thank you, I appreciate it. So we'll drop on Tuesday next week, not Monday. Just realised that as I looked at the calendar. I was like, nope, that's when you're wrestling, Simon. But we'll do that. Thank you as ever for listening. Please do subscribe. Leave us 5 stars on iTunes. All of that jazz. Tell a friend. Tell 2 friends. Let's spread the love. Either way, though, we will chat to you next week.